been a fan of yours for years and was very excited when you were cast in this for the first season. I cannot believe how much better this show is now in season two compared to season one. From your perspective, what do you think is the biggest difference between last season and this season?
Um, I would say the biggest difference is probably the showrunner. We have a new showrunner taking the mantle. My job as an actor, I always say, is to fulfill the vision of the showrunner and make it the best version that their vision could be. Um, so on the second season, we're working with a great showrunner named David Weiner, who, has a really unique point of view that I think informs things in many ways. And he brought a lot of talented people with him. That I think the additions in the art department and the stunt department really went a long ways to establishing um, quality that maybe wasn't there in the first season as much. And it's a tonal shift, that I think really helps sell the change. It's the second season feels darker, feels more mysterious, and a lot of that can be attributed to the art department and how they see things. Right, when you're looking at all that stuff in the first episode in the fog with the Covenant, when you can't quite see what's happening, but it all feels very immediate, and all the battle sequences are more subjective. You're thrown into the battle with the characters. All of this stuff lends itself to um, making you lean forward a little bit, making you try to figure out what's happening, figure out what people's intentions are, and it just makes it feel a little more mysterious and a little deeper, I think.
And this character, obviously coming from a video game where no face, all the mask, all the time, and you get to really embody this character as a human being. It's such a serious and stoic character, and there's a lot of emotions that are there. Where is there any fun in playing this character? Obviously your facial expressions as this character, there's a lot of strong emotions, but where's the fun in this character for you?
I've tried to add that in as many ways as possible, and it's tough because as you said, the character is so stoic, and there's so many things that we put on to the Master Chief and what he has to be and how he has to remain. So it's a bit of a narrow box that you have to stay within, and finding ways to expand that. In the video games, there's so many great moments of humor with the Chief, where it's all kind of deadpan humor, but he's got a real good sense of humor. So bringing in those moments where we can use that sort of dry deadpan humor is something that I've fought for. Just finding any way where you can enjoy the character in a way that's different. I've advocated for the whole time. So we look for those opportunities. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not, and it is what it is.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. You're phenomenal. This season's even better. Can't wait for people to check it out.
Thanks, Alex. Really appreciate your time, man.
Thank you.
And I do not see surrender. I will not make the stand alone.
We have something the enemy does not. We have heroes.
I don't want to give away any spoilers at all, but I gotta say from the very beginning, I really could not tell if Ackerson was a good guy or a bad guy. So that's a testament to you as an actor that is he messing with me? Is it hard to tell? Like, how did you approach playing this character?
I guess it starts with the script. There's so much there in the script already, in the writing, and there's so much subtext there as well. I absolutely wanted the effect that you just described, so that's good, knowing that at least I was successful there. There's definitely was potential for him to come across as the villain, especially in the first two episodes. But my goal was to make people unsure of that, and even to hopefully to bring them to a point where they are kind of rooting for him and at least understand why he's doing what he's doing, because there's elements of what he talks about that he does wholeheartedly believe in, and he certainly wants what's best for humanity. and for the greater good of mankind and for the survival of the species. But he understands that there's some really difficult choices he has to make. Now, it was also a very fun character because there's an enjoyment he takes in his position, you know, and in the small victories that he has in bending people to his will and bringing them in line to follow his plan. So that's a gift as an actor as well, because you know, it's fun to watch when a character is having fun in that. But I think what was great about this is we weight it later on in the season and we show the tremendous pressure he's under, and even how some of that fun was kind of part of the act that he has to, the walls that he puts up at all times.
And speaking of pressure, did you feel any coming into a series? You've done TV, you've done projects like this before, but coming into something after the cast is kind of already built up like a repartee together, but coming into season 2, did that feel like a daunting process for you?
No, because no, because David Weiner, the new showrunner, was also new to the show. So he, you know, after season 1, they got a new showrunner and they kind of got a new team behind the show. So it was really a reimagining of the show to a certain extent. And he brought me on, David, because I worked with him on a show called Brave New World. And so I felt really confident in his vision and in the writing that he'd done. He wrote the part with me in mind, allegedly, is what he said. But I felt that in the writing. I felt when I read it, like, oh, I know how I want to do this. Like, I know my way, I can see my way into this. And I felt confident in that. And then the other thing is that there just really wasn't room for any doubt, because the character has to be so confident in that situation. My first scene that I filmed was Ackerson's first scene in the show, where he comes in and addresses the Spartans in a briefing room, and he has a sort of 3-page monologue talking about how he's the new boss, and you know, there's going to be some changes, but it's all going to be fine, and I believe in you, but you are going to do things my way. And so I felt like my only way through this is extreme confidence, and I just had to try and maintain that level as an actor. What was hard to keep in check was my excitement at being on the Halo sets and seeing these props and armor and these things around me that I grew up, you know, watching on a screen with a controller in my hand. So that was more tricky.
Well, that's awesome. You nailed it. Love the character. Can't wait for people to check it out. Thank you so much for your time today.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
I am a huge fan of yours and have been for years. I worked at a video store back in the day, and I have a big hit poster somewhere. I got a VHS of Dead Presidents and Freeway, and I got to say, Mike Milligan, one of the top 10 greatest TV characters of all time. So I just wanted to start with that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
So seeing you in this series, very exciting, and it's such a cool character because there's connections to the Spartans, but it's different from the Spartans. How did you find inspiration to play this character? Like, where did you find the root of this character?
Me and Otto Bathurst, we had a very cool conversation about a song that gave me an idea of what the expectation was from him. And, you know, he's a morally complex individual who isn't easily identified in the, you know, pantheon of morality, I guess you'd call it. Like, he's not somebody you can just assign a readily understood label to. And I love this character so much. You know, I told Otto that I was going to approach this character as me playing myself when I was in my early 20s, with that kind of worldview, that kind of simplified perspective about things. This is that, and that is this, and there is no more than that. And that's the approach we took. So in season 2, he starts to expand upon that idea of himself even which was the challenge for season 2. But yeah, hope that answers your question.
It did. And what did you find to be the biggest difference between season 1 and season 2? Did you feel like behind the scenes there was a different feel this time around?
It was a completely different feel. Everything about season 2 was completely different. Uh, David Weiner suffers no fools. Okay, he is very serious about getting things done on time, correctly. That having been said, he's also incredibly open to suggestion and kind as a creative co-conspirator. Um, Having to address and face, depict, illustrate, be honest in the moment about the interactions Soren has with his family was the single most challenging aspect of season 2. I generally don't get hired to portray family life, the patriarch, or even the uncle or whatever. I mean, a couple times, but generally speaking, that's not the thing. So having the opportunity to face the challenge of playing a husband father was something that I was excited about, but it was also fraught with risk, because anytime you try something new, you can't get too cocky, but you also have to have confidence. And so trying to find that balance while I was doing something that I'm not used to doing was the biggest challenge for me this season, personally.
Awesome. Well, you nailed it. The season is even better than the first. You're great in it. I can't wait for people to check it out. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Thank you.
I have to say that I liked season 1. I loved season 2. This is far and away so much better than season 1 in every way, just like taking the foundation and building on it. And David, just to start with you, coming into season 2, were you coming in to say, all right, we need to kind of reset? Were you picking up where things left off? How did you kind of orient where you were going to take season 2?
By watching season 1 and looking at what opportunities do we have story-wise, and letting kind of those conclusive aspects of season 1 become beginnings in season 2, creating new challenges for our characters, new problems, and just thinking, well, okay, what's the best way to connect with these characters? What can we do tonally to make the show really resonate? And yeah, great team of writers. And the thing about Halo is that the hardest part is deciding which awesome thing you can get to first. And it takes a little bit of discipline, because the temptation is to like throw everything in there all at once. But I think that the season has a really nice arc to it, and it's gonna be pretty satisfying for fans.
And Kiki, I've been playing video games since the 80s, and I've been waiting forever to finally hit the period we're in now, where video game adaptations are hitting their stride. For your perspective, what do you think the medium of a television series, especially with season 2, you're able to do with Halo that you maybe couldn't do in the games?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a fundamental shift in sort of narrative form, right? And I think always the opportunity for television felt like the ability to tell a long form story, and B, the ability to really focus on character and really focus on sort of a 360 perspective on a character. And I think with season 1, we learned so much about how to make the show, and I loved what you said about it, because I think it's really true. We laid the foundation, and even before we finished season 1, we were already working on what does season 2 need to be, and how do we take all these learnings forward. And I think with season 2, we really are able to deliver on that character story with the amazing action and the Halo universe sort of unwrapping around our characters. But it really was about being able to tell this sort of tight character story in a way you can't experience in the games. And that comes with pros and cons for audience who are used to experiencing their characters in a particular way. but also is such a creative opportunity around these characters that we love for them to have fully fleshed out lives and thoughts and motivations.
Well, I definitely think that fans of the game are going to come in droves if they didn't already. I really think that this is a huge step above season one. Thank you so much for your time today. I can't wait for people to check it out.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Alex.
Alex.